Incredible turn of events, officers exposed as they discover the hidden identity of the police chief. Kevin wiped grease from his hands, the smell of motor oil mixing with the sunshine filtering through the open garage door of his auto shop. Just as he leaned against a vintage Mustang, taking a moment to breathe, his daughter Lily burst in, a whirlwind of energy. "Daddy! Look what I found!" She squealed, her blue eyes sparkling. In her hand, she held a broken toy car, a shell of chrome and plastic. It reminded him of the dreams he once had when his wife was alive. Like clockwork, laughter echoed in their simple home, a warmth he cherished amidst the growing fear in their town, where the police seemed to lurk around every corner, guns drawn, and eyes scanning for trouble. Crime had crept into their suburb like a sickness, transforming neighbors into strangers. Their little town had been shaken by a string of thefts, whispers echoing through the streets. It wasn't long before the local police, determined to crack down, initiated a chaotic raid on a suspect's house, wrong address included. Kevin stood on the sidewalk as his shop was damaged in the commotion. His heart sank, rage bubbling under the surface, but he couldn't forget Lily's excited chatter about their next weekend project. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days passed in a blur of tension and fear until the community, embroiled in chaos, began to come together. Neighbors once divided by distrust shared coffee on porches, exchanged stories, their voices rising above the tension. As Kevin repaired his shop, he found solace in this small shift towards unity, but then, a name emerged: Officer Turner. Residents had a complicated history with him, accusations flying faster than bullets, but Kevin was surprised to learn Turner had grown up just like them, struggling on the other side of the tracks. Images of mud-stained sneakers and broken dreams came to life in Kevin's mind. It made him question everything he thought he knew. As tensions built, whispers of misinformation lurked, threatening to unravel the progress built in these hard conversations. Old resentments crept in like shadows, and the air grew fraught, weighted with doubt. And just as hope flickered amidst this unfolding drama, Kevin's estranged father showed up seeking redemption. Their relationship had been strained, filled with ghosts of a troubled past. Yet here he was, standing at Kevin's doorstep, offering support, pleading for trusting eyes in a community torn asunder. The town hall meeting approached like a storm, and Kevin felt trapped between anger and the call for understanding. Would he make peace with a figure like Officer Turner? Could they find common ground, or would the vestiges of their pasts undo any chance for healing? Questions spun in his mind as the crowd's anticipation thickened. Would this town, with its scars and shared experiences, pull together, or would old wounds rip the fragile fabric of hope apart? In that moment of tense uncertainty, he realized they all carried the weight of their histories. Could they really move forward together? Kevin paced back and forth in his shop, anxiety gnawing at him as the time for the town hall meeting drew closer. The sound of hammers and drills echoed in the background, but all he could hear was the thumping of his heart. He glanced at Lily, who was drawing absently at a small table in the corner. Her focus, so innocent and pure, made his stomach twist with worry. "What if it gets ugly, Daddy?" she asked suddenly, looking up with a frown that tugged at his heart. He kneels by her side, forcing a smile. "It'll be okay, sweetheart. Everyone just wants to be heard." But deep down, he was unsure. He remembered the tension in the air, the angry faces he would have to stand before, and the loose threads of history that tied him to Officer Turner. As he finished packing up for the day, the doorbell chimed, announcing the arrival of an unexpected guest. It was Officer Turner. Kevin's heart raced, his fists clenching reflexively. "Can we talk?" Turner asked, his voice steady but low, almost a whisper. Kevin hesitated. "What do you want?" I came to apologize, Turner admitted, his blue uniform crisp, yet his eyes seemed tired. For what happened at your shop? Mistakes were made, and I'm sorry for the damage and the chaos. We're trying to make things right. The weight of those words pressed against Kevin like a physical force. He wanted to unleash his anger, to let the years of resentment spill out. But instead, seeing the man before him vulnerable and regretful softened something within him. Why should I believe you? Kevin challenged, folding his arms across his chest. Because I've seen things and I've had to live with what I've done, Turner replied, glancing away. I grew up here too, Kevin. I wasn't always the cop you see now. I was just a kid trying to find my way just like everyone else in this town. Kevin's brow furrowed in surprise. It was hard to reconcile this hardened officer with the boy he imagined running the same streets, dreaming of a better future. He felt a flicker of compassion but quickly smothered it. Compassion had no place in his life anymore, or so he believed. Look, we can't go back, Turner continued, taking a step forward, but we can stand together. This meeting isn't just about blame. It's about finding solutions. It's about our kids, Kevin, about the world we leave them. The door creaked open, and Lily peeked through. With her tiny hand wrapped around the doorknob, she sensed the tension. Her presence was a reminder that their struggles extended beyond their disagreements. Daddy, why is he here? She said, her voice innocent but piercing through the heaviness of the atmosphere. Maybe Kevin stammered, existing in a rare moment of vulnerability, maybe he's here to make things better. For you and me? Lily asked, eyes wide. Before he could answer, Turner spoke up. I want that too. We can change how this town works. But I need your help. Kevin looked between the two of them. The innocence of Lily's question clashed with the raw honesty of Turner's plea. Could he get over his past, for her sake? Suddenly, as if the air had shifted, the door swung wide, and a group of neighbors came marching in. Their faces held a mix of determination and worry, ready to voice their frustrations and fears. With a flood of energy surrounding them, Kevin stood at the precipice of a choice. He could easily slip back into anger, to cling to resentment, or he could take a step towards healing. But could he really trust someone like Turner? As he felt the weight of all eyes upon him, he realized the true battle was just beginning. Would he seize the moment to forge a new path, or would fear take the lead? Just before stepping into the impending chaos, a chilling thought crossed his mind. What if facing the truth meant sacrificing everything he thought he knew about himself, about the very fabric of their community? The tension was palpable as a wave of familiar faces filled the shop. Neighbors who had rallied around him, friends turned sympathetic warriors in this collective battle against an unseen villain. They stood there, expectant, eyes darting between Kevin and Officer Turner. Kevin's stomach churned with uncertainty. Hey, everyone, Kevin started, his voice barely making it past the knot in his throat. We've gathered here today because he paused, glancing back at Turner, who stood silently, as if waiting for an introduction. We need to talk about what has been happening in our town and how we can make it better. The crowd murmured, a mix of curiosity and skepticism. People shifted their weight, arms folded, brows furrowed. Someone in the back shouted, "What does he want here, Kevin? He's not welcome after what he did." Kevin's heart clenched. How could he reconcile his feelings for Turner with the anger in the room? Listen, folks, I know there's been pain, he said, feeling the burn of the community's gaze. But maybe we can use this moment to heal. A few heads nodded, but a restless energy surged. Forgive and forget. Is that what you're saying? Another voice rang out, shaky but passionate. I lost my job because of this guy. Turner took a step forward, a brave but hesitant gesture. I didn't come here to sweep things under the rug. I came to admit that a lot of us have failed in our duties. We were supposed to protect this community, and instead, we hurt it. A low rumble echoed through the room, the tightrope of tension palpable. Kevin felt the weight of responsibility. We can't change the past, he said, but we can fight for a future for our kids. He glanced at Lily, who was now peeking curiously from behind the counter. Is healing even possible? Someone shouted through the crowd. A moment of silence followed, heavy with doubt. Turner's response came out slowly, every word weighed and considered. Sometimes healing takes effort, and it's not easy. It's facing the truth, however painful it may be. But I believe we can start to undo the harm. Another voice interrupted. What about accountability? Who is going to make sure this doesn't happen again? I will, Turner replied firmly, locking eyes with the speaker. I've made my mistakes, and I'll own them. But I'm asking you to join me in creating a better system. Kevin's heart raced. Was this the moment he sought, the chance for change? But doubt still lingered. One neighbor stepped forward, a worn but determined man with years etched into his face. I've got kids in this town, Turner. You can't just show up with promises. Your words better mean something. Turner nodded gravely. They do. We need a town hall that truly reflects what we stand for: safety, community, and second chances. Lily wandered closer, sensing the heaviness in the atmosphere. She tilted her head, her small voice breaking through the turmoil. Daddy, can we trust him? Kevin's breath caught in his throat. Could he even answer her? She represented everything he wanted to protect, but trust felt so far out of reach. He knew the love he had for her pushed him toward hope, yet the fear wound tighter around him. That's what we're figuring out right now, sweetheart, he said softly, fighting to keep his voice steady. Lily nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration as if deeply considering the weight of the moment. As the discussions began to swirl, arguments igniting and hopeful suggestions rising, Kevin felt a shift. For the first time, he saw in some faces a flicker of resolve. Could they take this fractured moment and forge something new? Could they ride this wave of division into a tide that carried them closer together? But just then, the door slammed open, a new figure stepping inside. The air shifted once more. Faces turned, and the tension in the room thickened, shadows creeping in with the familiar, unwelcome presence. Didn't he expect to see this gathering here? The newcomer said, an unsettling smirk on their lips. Kevin's heart plummeted. Who was this, and what did they want? Dread curled around him like smoke, smothering hope as the specter of conflict loomed on the horizon. What would this new presence throw into the mix? Would it ignite violence or bring deeper truth to the surface? The newcomer stepped forward, and Kevin's gut twisted with a rush of adrenaline. He recognized the figure immediately. It was Sam, a personality as notorious as it was charming. Known for stirring the pot, Sam thrived on chaos. And in a moment like this, the mix of unease and curiosity was pure fire in the air. Sam, Kevin breathed, the name like a plea. What are you doing here? Sam grinned, a glint in his eye that made the hairs on Kevin's neck stand on end. Just came to see how the town's newest crusaders were holding up. Thought things might be getting a bit too cozy for my taste. He swept his gaze across the crowd, fingers absent-mindedly tapping on his phone, as if ready to capture whatever spectacle would unfold. Kevin could hear the murmurs in the crowd shift from uneasy to outright hostile. You don't belong here, Sam. Someone shouted, and a wave of agreement fanned out. But Sam thrived on this energy. He relished the division, the tension that could spark a fight or a scandal. Turner stepped forward to address Sam, but the officer's voice rang out above the growing discord. We're trying to have a conversation about healing this community. What are you looking to gain? His face was a mask of determination, but Kevin saw the flicker of worry beneath it, the concern that a fight would undo any hope they had started to build. Oh, you know me, Sam said, almost lazily. Just a concerned citizen, trying to keep things interesting. A little drama never hurt anyone, right, folks? He swung his arms wide, inviting any reaction he could provoke. The crowd's response was mixed, some faces glaring at him while others looked tempted to engage, feeding the flames. Kevin felt Lily's small hand grasp his tightly, her fear piercing him like a knife. He dropped to one knee and looked into her wide, questioning eyes. "Sweetheart, it's okay. Just stay close to me," he whispered, his heart pounding harder in his chest. As Sam continued to bait the crowd, Kevin felt a surge of anger. "This isn't a game, Sam. People are hurting, and if you can't see that, maybe you should just leave." "Leave? But this is the best show in town. You can practically cut the tension with a knife." Sam shot back, a smirk plastered on his face. He thrived on eliciting responses, and Kevin knew if he stirred the pot just enough, it might just boil over. "Enough!" Turner barked, stepping even closer to Sam, eyes narrowed. "If you're here to make trouble, you're not welcome. We're trying to build something positive." But Sam laughed, the sound echoing through the shop like an invitation to chaos. "Positive? In a town like this? You really think you can convince people to trust you? It's fragile like glass. One crack, and it all comes crashing down." Kevin took a deep breath, frustration burning in his chest. He had to defuse the situation. "What is it going to take for you to back down, Sam? This is about our community, not your entertainment." The intensity of the room shifted. People leaned in, waiting for a showdown to erupt. But Sam tilted his head, his grin fading slightly as he regarded Kevin with curiosity. "What if I were to tell you there's more to it? More secrets lurking beneath the surface?" He paused, watching Kevin for his reaction. "What if I know something about recent events that you don't?" Dread washed over Kevin. What could Sam possibly know? And why was he here? "Enough games!" Someone shouted from the crowd, but Sam merely shrugged, a wicked glint in his eye. "Isn't the truth just what you're all looking for?" He taunted, melting into the tension with that quiet confidence of someone who held the cards. Kevin knew they were teetering on the edge of something critical. As anger bubbled and voices rose, one question echoed in his mind: what other truths lay buried beneath the surface, and at what cost would they be revealed? The weight of uncertainty settled heavily in the room. With danger looming and secrets potentially unraveling, he couldn't help but wonder, what would happen when the truth finally fell into their laps? Kevin's heart raced as he locked eyes with Sam, a whirlwind of confusion and fury swirling in his chest. The crowd became a cage of voices, gasps and outbursts colliding in a chaotic symphony. All he could focus on was that dark glimmer in Sam's eyes, the promise of destruction concealed behind his casually smiling facade. "Tell us what you know, then," Turner challenged, though his voice trembled slightly. "If there is something important, now is the time." Regret flashed across his face, the officer couldn't believe he was engaging with Sam. But fear fed curiosity. Sam let the tension build, drawing out the moment until it felt stretched like rubber, ready to snap. He took a slow step closer, lowering his voice. "How many of you are aware of the old police scandal? The one that shook this town years ago? Unlicensed dealings? Framed accusations?" He looked around, savoring the rising alarm on faces that had once been so trusting. "What are you trying to say?" Kevin's voice broke through the noise, desperate to contain the masses before they spiraled into chaos. Lily clutched tighter to his side, her little fingers digging into him. "Just think about it," Sam taunted, leaning back and spreading his arms as if to embrace the chaos he'd begun to ignite. "Maybe some of those heroes aren't so heroic after all. Maybe the entities we follow come wrapped in shadows, leading us to believe we're safe while they stay hidden in plain sight." Whispers erupted. Kevin caught snippets of panic-laden conversations. "Is he serious? I always heard the rumors, but could they really?" A woman's voice quivered behind him. Silence. "This isn't the time to speculate." Turner snapped, but uncertainty spun like a tornado. Suddenly, everyone was questioning their own neighbors, their own assumptions. This was the fear Sam thrived on, and it was spreading like wildfire. Kevin pushed forward, urgency fueling him. "Enough. Sam, you can't play with people's lives like this. If you know something, you have to share it. Keeping secrets in a time like this only brings more fear. A noble thought, Kevin, Sam said, amusement dancing in his eyes. But what if I need a little incentive? His gaze drifted over the crowd, gauging responses like a predator scoping its prey. The tension hung thick, almost tangible like fog. You want a reward for telling us the truth? Kevin couldn't forget the tight knot in his own stomach. You're a coward. It slipped out before he could catch himself, but the truth was there for everyone to see. Sam needed this moment more than anyone else did. Lily's small voice piped up, soft yet piercing. Please, just stop. Her innocence sliced through the air, grounding everyone, if only for an instant. Sam's smirk twitched, and all present turned their focus to the little girl beside Kevin. Isn't she adorable? Sam finally said, but his eyes betrayed a flash of hesitance. Perhaps we should show a little decorum for the sake of the children. The air shifted. For a moment, Sam was disarmed, his bravado faltering. The crowd, momentarily united in their protectiveness, began to murmur in agreement, whispers like the rustling of leaves. But before anyone could approach the subject further, Kevin's phone buzzed sharply in his pocket. He pulled it out, his heart sinking further as he read the message. Something's just come up. We need to talk immediately. You'll want to meet at the old precinct. Realization gripped him. This wasn't just about Sam anymore. Something larger was unfolding, more profound than just words exchanged in that small community shop. What is it? Turner asked, stepping closer, concern etched on his face. It's a message about the precinct, Kevin breathed, his voice tight. We need to go. Now. He glanced at Sam, who had momentarily lost his edge. Kevin could see the wheels turning in his head, considering his next move. They were connected now, whether they liked it or not, riding the same tide of uncertainty. And as they moved, Kevin couldn't shake the feeling that the truth waiting for them at the precinct might expose far more than just secrets. It could reshape their entire community. What had they uncovered, and at what cost would the revelations come? The tension lingered, thick as smoke, and just as dangerous. What awaited them in the shadows of the old precinct? Kevin pushed through the crowd, urgency guiding each step. The murmurs faded into a dull roar behind him as Sam trailed closely, his expression shifting from amusement to a wary anticipation. Turner moved alongside them, his brow creased, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The old precinct loomed into view, its weathered brick and broken windows telling stories of long-forgotten promises. Kevin's pulse quickened. This was ground zero for all the rumors, the hidden truths, and the unheeded warnings that hung over their heads. What do you think this is about? Turner asked, glancing at Kevin, whose mind was racing. I don't know, but we can't go in there unprepared. If the rumors are true, Kevin's voice trailed off as he felt Lily squeeze his hand tighter, her small fingers trembling. He had promised to protect her, no matter what. Maybe it's about the evidence, Sam interjected, his tone almost teasing now. You know, the stuff that everyone's been covering up. Probably just gathering dust and shadows by now. Kevin shot him a glare, but Sam's eyes sparkled with something akin to excitement. It was unsettling. As they approached the entrance, the heavy wooden doors felt like a gateway into a past riddled with secrets. Kevin hesitated, inhaling the cool air, his heart pounding in his chest. He pushed the door open, the creak sounding like gunfire in the stillness. Inside, the precinct was as dim as he had imagined. Dust motes swirled in the shafts of sunlight filtering through the broken blinds, casting eerie patterns on the walls. Old department photos hung crookedly, faded badges of honor tarnished by accusations. Where do we even start? Turner whispered, scanning the room. The tension hung so thick it felt like they were breathing it in, a mix of fear and anticipation. Follow me, Sam said, striding toward the back of the building with a surprising confidence. It was both alarming and fascinating. They trailed behind him into a corridor lined with locked doors, each one a vault of hidden truths. Sam halted in front of a particularly large door with a rusty, battered lock. "This is it," he said, his voice low. "Your precious truth lies just beyond this door." Kevin felt a chill creep down his spine. "What's behind it, Sam?" "Only the past that's been buried," he replied, smirking. "Are you brave enough to discover the truth, or will you keep hiding in the dark?" Kevin held his breath. Turner shook his head, apprehensive. "We should just go to the station report this." But Lily piped up, her voice soft yet resolute. "We can't run away, can we, Daddy? We have to know." Kevin glanced down at her, her wide eyes shining with purity and determination. It was as if she could sense the gravity of the moment, the importance of standing firm in the face of uncertainty. "You're right, sweetheart," he said, before turning back to Sam. "If there is something in there that could help us help everyone, we have to look." With one shaky hand, Kevin reached out and gripped the door handle. The metal was cold, unyielding. He pushed down and, with a creak, the door opened, revealing darkness that seemed to call out to him. As they crossed the threshold, Kevin's heart pounded louder than he thought possible. Piles of old papers lay scattered across a desk, while shattered artifacts from the past littered the floor. This was more than he had anticipated. A flicker of movement caught his eye, a shadow darting off to the side. "Wait!" he cried, but it was too late. "Did you see that?" Turner asked, his eyes wide. "Who's in here?" Kevin called, stepping further inside. "Show yourself." The shadows shifted again, and suddenly, a figure stepped into the light, startling Kevin and bringing everything to a halt. "I've been waiting for you," they said, voice low and gravelly. And in that moment, Kevin could feel the world spinning beneath him. The truth they were seeking was finally within reach, but at what cost? A rush of fear mingled with anticipation surged through him as the figure took another step closer. What secrets would they unleash now? Kevin's heart raced as he studied the figure that had emerged from the shadows. The dim light cast a haunting glow over their face, making it difficult to read their intentions. The voice was gravelly, steeped in weariness, yet edged with a strange familiarity. Who were they? What did they know? "Who are you?" Kevin managed to ask, his voice tight with uncertainty. The figure stepped further into the light, revealing a pair of tired eyes filled with secrets and burden. "I'm someone who has been searching for answers. Just like you." "My name is Kevin," he replied, glancing nervously at Lily, who stood by his side, her grip tight on his hand. Sam and Turner lingered behind, eyes darting between Kevin and the stranger. The air felt charged with unspoken tension. "Answers," the figure echoed, a bitter laugh escaping their lips. "That's what we all want, isn't it? The truth is messy, Kevin. Sometimes, it can break you." Kevin swallowed hard. "What do you mean? What do you know about the precinct? About what happened here?" "The precinct is just a stage for the real drama beneath," they said, shaking their head as if steering clear of the tapestry of memories that weighed heavily on them. "There are stories hidden in these walls, stories of betrayal, of good people turned bad." "What kind of stories?" Turner asked, his voice wavering with disbelief. "Are you talking about the cover-ups? The missing evidence?" The stranger stepped back, letting out a long breath. "You're brave to come here, but there's no telling what you're truly prepared for or what you might unleash." Every word felt like a ripple in a pond, sending out waves of uncertainty. Kevin's grip on Lily tightened as he saw fear flood her delicate features. "We need to know the truth," he insisted. "For her and for everyone else who has suffered because of it." The figure nodded slowly, weighing the gravity of the situation. "You're passionate. It's south what will drive you. But passion without caution can lead to destruction. What do you have?" Sam interjected, his eyes narrowing. "Do you know where the evidence is? Is it here?" "Evidence?" The figure sneered, their expression shifting. Evidence is just a word. What matters is the lives it affects. When you dig deep enough, you'll find more than just paper. You'll find people's lives are woven into it. Kevin's anxiety rose. He had come searching for a way to expose the ugly truth, and now it seemed there was much more at stake than he realized. We're ready for whatever is in store. We have to take this risk. The figure stepped closer, their eyes narrowing. Then you must understand the price of this journey. The moment you pull on this thread, you may unravel something that can never be put back together. Tell us, Kevin urged, his voice firmer now, emboldened by the fierce responsibility weighing on him. What do we need to know? A flicker of hesitation crossed the figure's gaze. Then, they turned slightly, pointing toward the far corner of the room. There's a box. Find it. And when you do, you decide if the truth is worth opening. But remember, some truths will shatter everything. With a heavy heart, Kevin stepped toward the corner, an uneasy anticipation curling in his stomach. What lay inside the box? Would it expose the darkness that tangled around their lives, or would it send them spiraling into chaos? His hand hovered over the box's edge, adrenaline coursing through him. The air felt thick with tension, like a starting gun waiting to go off. Kevin, wait, Sam said, his voice low and urgent. Are you really prepared for what you're about to unearth? As Kevin looked back at his friends and his daughter, he felt the weight of their individual hopes resting on his shoulders. This was no longer just a hunt for the truth, it was a journey into the heart of their fears and the potential for change. He took a deep breath, heart pounding in his ears. I have to know, he whispered, and he lifted the box's lid. The moment it opened, darkness poured out like old memories, and Kevin braced himself for the revelations that would follow. What awaited them inside that box could change everything or destroy what they had left. As the lid creaked open, a musty scent flooded the air, rich with the scent of forgotten times. Inside, nestled amongst old photographs and crumpled papers, was a small journal. Kevin's fingers trembled as he reached for it, sensing that this was more than just a collection of old notes. It felt alive, buzzing with energy and untold stories. Lily leaned closer, her curiosity piqued despite her earlier fear. What is it, Dad? She whispered, her voice soft but insistent. I don't know yet, Kevin replied, his heart racing. The journal looked worn, its cover frayed at the edges. It was as if it had been opened and closed thousands of times, worn down by secrets and anxious hands. That he could feel the eyes of Sam and Turner on him, heavy with a mix of anticipation and dread. Should we read it here? Sam asked, his brow furrowing with concern. Kevin glanced at the figure who had led them here. The stranger stood back, watching, their expression unreadable. You must decide, the figure finally said with a hint of gravity. Once you look, there's no turning back. Taking a deep breath, Kevin opened the journal, feeling the pages crackle under his fingertips. The first page was filled with tight, hurried scrawl. Names, dates, initials all jumbled together in a way that made Kevin's stomach tighten. Each word felt like a challenge, demanding he decode the chaos. Look! Lily exclaimed, pointing at one of the entries. That name, it's Aunt Sarah. What? Kevin's heart dropped. Sarah, his late sister, had been a beacon of light for their family, a detective known for her unwavering commitment to truth and justice. But she had died under mysterious circumstances that had never sat right with Kevin. You have to read it, Lily urged, her eyes sparkling with a mix of fear and hope. Kevin turned the page and began to read aloud, carefully. The words were a mix of notes and diary entries, each weaving a tale of police corruption and cover-ups. I know I'm being watched, one entry read. They think I don't see them tracking my every move. But I won't let them silence the truth. I have to uncover what happened to the missing evidence before it's too late. A chill raced down Kevin's spine. He remembered the whispers about his sister's investigation, the hushed conversations that always brushed against the dangerous edges of his family history. Your sister was close to something, Turner murmured, a frown creasing his forehead. Something big. Yeah, but why wasn't he told? Kevin's voice trembled with a mix of anger and sadness. Why did we have to find out like this? As he continued to read, the journal revealed more names of officers entwined in a web of betrayal, each entry more desperate than the last. I can't trust anyone, one passage declared. Not even those I once called allies. Who could she have been writing about? Sam asked, his voice low. People she trusted, Kevin replied, anger simmering under his skin. And they let her down. With each turn of the page, Kevin felt a shifting tide. This wasn't just about his sister's legacy, it felt personal. It was as if the weight of all those unanswered questions had finally found a voice. Kevin, Lily's voice was soft, almost trembling. What if this honesty leads to more danger for us? What if this is the beginning of something worse? The figures stepped forward again, their eyes piercing through the dim light. You must acknowledge the risk, Kevin, but also remember what your sister believed. Truth is a powerful weapon, and sometimes the one that wields it becomes a target. Torn between the responsibility to protect his family and the burning need to honor Sarah's fight, Kevin found himself at a crossroads. Gathering his courage, he closed the journal for a moment, his heart heavy with the weight of the choice before him. I can't walk away, he said finally, his voice steady. She deserves justice. We deserve justice. Whatever it takes, I'll do it. The figure nodded solemnly. Then brace yourself for the storm that follows. You've opened the door, and what comes next may change everything you thought you knew. With trembling hands, Kevin reopened the journal, ready to dig deeper. As he turned the next page, a single name stood out, underlined in charcoal ink, a name that would shake the very foundation of their understanding. The identity of the officer linked to all the corruption and the truth behind Sarah's untimely death was looming closer than ever. Kevin, Sam said with urgency. What if it's someone we know? Feeling the fear crawl up his spine, Kevin looked up, the jagged pieces of his reality beginning to form a different picture. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, and just then, footsteps echoed in the distance, drawing closer. Whatever happens next, he whispered, dread settling in his chest, we have to stick together. But would they be ready for what or whom they might face? The footsteps grew louder, the echo reverberating off the walls like a drum pounding against Kevin's anxiety. He dropped his gaze back to the journal, his heart racing. The name written prominently on the page was a name too familiar. It pulsed in his mind, almost mocking him. What's it say? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kevin inhaled deeply, trying to steady his nerves. It's Officer Daniels, he stammered, fear creeping into his words. A chill coursed through him. Officer Daniels was not just any officer, he was a trusted friend of the family and someone who had been around since Kevin was a boy. But the journal painted a different picture, one filled with shadows and deceit. Daniels? Sam echoed, his expression morphing from curiosity to disbelief. But he was always on Sarah's side. Always. Apparently not, Kevin replied. His voice felt heavy, like it belonged to someone else. She had her suspicions about him. The more she dug, the more he seemed to distance himself. Several moments passed in intense silence, the weight of their thoughts thickening the air. Lily's wide eyes darted between the journal and her father's troubled face. What if he hurt her? She asked, the fear evident in her tone. Let us not jump to conclusions, Kevin replied, gripping the edge of the journal tighter. We can't know for sure without more evidence. The figure watching them stepped closer, seeming to sense the tension. You now have part of the truth, but remember, truth often hides behind layers of deceit. You must remain vigilant. Vigilant. It echoed in Kevin's mind like a mantra. They needed a plan, an approach that would allow them to uncover the full extent of the conspiracy without drawing the wrong kind of attention. Maybe we should talk to Daniels first, Turner suggested, his brow furrowing. We could confront him and see what he has to say. No, Kevin responded quickly. I don't want to put anyone in danger. If what's in this journal is true, we need proof. We can't take his word for it. We're going to need to dig deeper. Suddenly, the footsteps stopped. Kevin felt his heart leap into his throat. Hide! He commanded, urgency slicing through him like a cold blade. They shuffled behind the cobwebbed shelves, hearts beating wildly, breaths held in muted anticipation. The stranger who had initially led them here stepped further into the room, scanning the area with a keen eye. Each second dragged out like an eternity, the air thick with tension as Kevin's mind raced, plotting their next move while trying to mass enough courage. As the stranger bent down, inspecting the corner where the journal had been, Kevin gripped Lily's hand tightly, sending a silent message, stay calm. Stay together. The stranger suddenly turned, their gaze piercing through the dim room. You're seeking answers, but beware what you unearth. It can bury you, they cautioned, with an intensity that sent shivers down Kevin's spine. We understand the risks, Kevin replied defiantly, stepping out from behind the shelves. But we're not backing down. What will you do if you discover that someone you trust isn't who they appear to be? The stranger's inquiry felt like a dagger aimed at their resolve. Kevin's breath quickened as he realized how personal this was becoming. I'll do what's right, he vowed, his voice stronger than he felt inside. Then you must not forget truth can cost you everything, the figure warned before slowly retreating into the shadows, leaving them once more alone in the suffocating silence. Turning back to the journal, Kevin could still feel the chill of the figure's warning hanging in the air. Did they have the strength to face the revelations that lay ahead? He opened the journal again, thirsting for more clarity. The next entry caught his eye, dated just weeks before Sarah's death. It read, I'm in too deep. If something happens to me, it's not an accident. The ticking clock of anxiety pushed them forward. They were on a precipice, balancing between uncovering truths and leaving their lives behind. Kevin, Lily whispered, her voice trembling slightly. What if we're too late? He looked at her, unwavering. Then we'll make it count. For Sarah. No matter the cost, they had to know. But what they uncovered next might shatter everything they thought was real. An unexpected creak echoed behind them, and something told him they weren't alone anymore. The question that haunted him now was clear, who else was watching? The atmosphere in the old precinct was thick with tension. Kevin stood frozen, a dreadful chill settling in his bones. The journal, filled with truths that could reshape their lives, lay open in his trembling hands. He couldn't ignore the feeling that they were being watched, the shadows around them growing thicker as they processed the newest revelation. Who's there? Kevin called out, his voice echoing in the cavernous room. The sound boomeranged off the walls, heightening the tension as they waited. Sam broke from his silence, eyes darting around. I don't like this. We should leave. His voice held an edge of panic. Maybe it's nothing, Turner suggested, attempting to mask his own unease. Let us stay focused. But before they could regroup, a pair of familiar voices floated from the darkness, challenging the silence like thunder. You shouldn't be poking around here. The figure stepped into view, revealing none other than Officer Daniels. The various shades of his uniform had not concealed the tension beneath his skin. He looked uncharacteristically rattled. Kevin's heart sank. This was the man he once trusted, another layer of betrayal intertwining with the shadows of his sister's past. Daniels, he said, his voice low, yet steady, trying to keep his composure. What are you doing here? Enough games, Kevin. You know too much already. Daniels stepped forward, his demeanor both protective and threatening. You need to drop this investigation. It's dangerous. Lily whimpered slightly, squeezing Kevin's hand tighter. Kevin crouched down next to her, meeting her young eyes filled with fear. Just hold on tight, sweetheart. Whatever happens, we're here together, he whispered, a comforting mix of reassurance yet uncertainty spilling into his voice. Why should we trust you now, Daniels? Kevin challenged, all the years of loyalty fading to a dull ache of disillusion. You weren't there for Sarah when she needed help. Sarah Daniels sighed, his voice softening. She was stubborn. That's what made her great. But it was her stubbornness that drove her to places I couldn't protect her from. The confession hung heavy in the air as Kevin felt an unsettling churn in his stomach. So you knew? You knew something was wrong. Kevin, listen, Daniels urged, stepping closer. I was trying to keep her safe. She was getting too close to the truth. It was more than just the missing evidence. There's a whole network of corruption that runs deeper than any of us understood. If you dig too deep, you'll become part of it. Kevin shot an incredulous look at the officer. You expect me to stand by and let that happen? No. I will not be silenced. Not now. Not for her. In that moment, the tension in the room shifted again. The truth, even in its discomfort, began to spark something within them, a desperate hope, a fear of remaining in the dark. Gather your courage, all of you, Daniels urged, his tone shifting again to a protective resolve. You don't know what you're dealing with, but I can help you. Together, we can bring this to light. Sam scoffed. You expect us to trust you after everything you've been involved in? This isn't just about trust. This is about survival, Daniels exclaimed, glancing at Lily, who remained firmly rooted beside her father. This isn't a battle you can fight with anger. There are forces out there that will do anything to protect their secrets. Kevin took a deep breath, deliberating the man before him. Could he dare to believe him? Truth weighed heavily here, ready to go one way or another. All right, Kevin said at last, his voice rough with emotion. But you need to prove it. Show us where we can find the real evidence, the kind that can't be hidden. Daniels stepped back, realization dawning in his expression. I can take you to the evidence room. There's enough information there to expose everything, both the good and the bad. But it'll put us all at risk. You need to be ready for what this might unleash. And what about the price of truth? Kevin asked, recalling the stranger's words. How much more will we have to pay? That's the risk we'll face. Together, Daniels replied, his gaze piercing through the doubt. Kevin glanced at Lily, whose eyes were wide with worry and determination. He knelt next to her. What do you think, kid? Her response surprised him. We have to try, Dad. If Aunt Sarah wouldn't give up, we can't either. Her words ignited a spark within him. She was right. There was strength in hope, a strength they could harness. Let us do it. He declared, straightening up with newfound resolve. Let us uncover the truth once and for all. As they moved toward the exit, all filled with tension and urgency, Kevin led the way. He felt something shift within him, an unwavering dedication to not only honor his sister's legacy but to forge a new path for his daughter, the town, and himself. They stepped back into the dim light, aware of the dangers ahead but finally resolved to confront the shadows, uncover the truths beneath the surface, and stand firm against the rising tide of uncertainty. Here's to new beginnings, Daniels murmured, his eyes serious. Here's to finding our way together, Kevin confirmed, turning to face his companions. As the weight of the moment hung around them, he felt it, the dawning of hope mingling with purposeful courage. Time to open the door to the ultimate truth and face whatever came next. As they departed the precinct, a voice echoed in Kevin's mind, the names, the stories, the consequences. He could almost hear his sister whispering, urging him forward. It was no longer just about uncovering secrets, it was about transforming lives, his, Lily's, and the community that needed healing, for hope was possible, even amidst the storm. But they had to decide if they would either linger in fear or fight for a brighter tomorrow, and behind them, the shadows whispered. They weren't finished just yet. Now, it was time for the world to know. If you've resonated with this powerful journey, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and let us grow this community together. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional journey so far, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can be a part of the change.